Welcome back to the show. This is not Hex Week. Wow, I missed the intro. Actually, it's been a while since I've heard the intro. We were Hex Week and hard last week, all 5 days. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that again because I'm pretty. I feel like I'm feeling okay now as far as not being exhausted, but that was a lot of work, man. But super fun. I literally just finished clipping at least a good portion of the week as well. So if you've been following me on X, you've been seeing some clips come out. I'm going to set up for September. I mentioned this as well. September, I'm trying to get a Hex related clip every day for September. Hopefully the mega marketing will coincide with onboarding and people get the information they need to see the greatest product on earth, Hex token, hex.com. That's what I like, at least. All right, everyone. Today we have a PulseX stream. And we've got a new project, Unity, the cryptographics we'll talk about as well. I heard it burns the PulseX. Zenith is here in the house. Without further ado, welcome both of you back to the show. Zenith Cryptographics. How's it going, gents?
Good to be here.
That's the first time I've seen anyone talk at the exact same moment. That was cool.
My bad. We're stepping on feet already. All right, we'll try to do that again.
After you there, Zenith.
Hello. Well, glad to see all you guys again. Max, always a pleasure for having me and love talking with you guys. So thank you, Mr. Graphics. Please introduce yourself.
Yep. Appreciate it. Max, good to see you again. It's glad to be on stream. It's been a while. Man, shout out to you for all you've been doing on the Hex Week, the work with the PulseX and the PulseChain conferences. And dude, my God, you're an animal, dude. So shout out to you. And I'm excited to hang today. It's been a minute, man. These are always fun.
It's been a while. Yeah, I think it's been, like I said, I'm just catching up from that. And I have no desire to stream for the past 4 days. I'm like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'll work on some other projects. I'm gonna finish these clips. If I don't finish the clip, I'm never gonna finish the clips. You gotta do the hard thing first. You gotta eat the frog, that type of thing. And I'm like, I'm not streaming until Tuesday. And here we are. Welcome. Happy Tuesday, everyone.
Nice.
So, and I was just searching today too. I was like, Hex, tap in PulseChain on YouTube. If anyone does that, you can sort by upload date to see the latest stuff. And there's PulseChain stuff here and there. I mean, pretty regularly content. Tap in Hex Crypto. I feel like it's literally just a bunch of my videos and like people on the show or just like Hex Week stuff, especially recently. If you tap in PulseX, I did this today as well. There's the Pumpatomic. What's his name? Pumpatonic. God, why can't I say that word? Like tokenomics, but Pumpatomic, something like that. That channel, like a few days ago, or like 11 days ago, I believe, had a PulseX video. Very few and far in between PulseX content. So I'm happy today. The reason I said all that was like, we need more PulseX content. So this is great. I love talking about the greatest DEX on PulseChain and some fun stuff that's helping the burn. Feel the burn, everyone. Feel the burn. The burn. Good stuff. Very good. So who wants to kick off? We'll get into Unity in a little bit as well, but PulseX, do we have any major bullish stats? Not looking at you, Zenith, but very much looking at you.
All right, let's see what we got here. So if we're specifically talking about good old PulseX, the application itself, well, I don't think that anyone's surprised. They're going to realize that it is the largest on PulseChain by a good margin there. Just looking at the fees that get paid out, looking at just the total liquidity, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's a lot larger. Interesting note, though. By the way, we're on DeFiLlama.com. This is a great on-chain analytics tool for anyone out there that wants to check it out. But right now, just looking at all the DEXs. And if we scroll down to our list here, we got Uniswap, Radium, PancakeSwap, Yora. Oh, what's this? Number 14. Look at that. PulseX is right up on that DEX list. So, double digits, teens, not bad. At the same time, does it quite hit the same level as some of the other ones that have a B for billion? Not quite, but at the same time, that's pretty respectable, I gotta say. And if we look at it, we're going to switch over to Coin Paprika now. I don't think anyone's going to be surprised to see that the main tokens that have the most liquidity there are going to be PulseX, PulseChain, Hex, eHex, and USDC. Big shout out to brother KG and the team over at the Grays Currency. They're number 9 there. So overall, I mean, PulseX still very much is a Richard Hart product, and I think the stats bear that out as much. If we, gosh, where did you go? flip on over to everyone's favorite website. Well, second favorite PulseChain website, right after GoRealDeFi.com. Got your daily stats, but if we go ahead and flip over to our other stats for PulseX itself, I mean, 206 million trades over the lifetime, 24 billion for volume, liquidity. It's an interesting chart because I think you can really see where liquidity got pulled out of the pools when we had that event happen once the incentive token emissions went down a bunch. But overall, by the metrics, it looks like it's a healthy DEX that's functioning. And it's not the only one. If you actually go and we switch back over to DeFi Llama, we go down, we have a handful of exchanges and applications out there that use all the PulseChain network as well. So shout out to Liquid Loans for the lending platform over there, Power City as well. 9 mil, another DEX, 9inch, another DEX. The Fame and Fiat guys have some swapping as well. And I don't see it, but I know our good friend Fast Abdul has his stuff on there as well. So if you're looking for bullish news, the bullish news is that, guess what? There's not just one DEX. There's a lot. And they all are pretty much operational from my knowledge. The only main issue was there was a liquidity issue for one of the pools over on 9mm a while back, but it appears that one has been resolved. And if you go look at their price chart, it is recovered as well and looks very much like a normal token if you exclude that one giant wick from the single day that happened. So overall, though, PulseChain, it's looking like it does what it does. There's not much more to say there. We have very operational and effective products over here. So if you're worried about, I don't know, having coins stuck up in liquidity pools or something, odds are, unless it's just the new meme coin 9,271 that you just made today, odds are you're going to be able to trade it, which, in my mind, I think that's great.
PulseX good. I'll pull this tweet up here as well. Ignoring the noise. Look at that buy and burn. One of the coolest features of PulseX, which I'm sure we'll get into as well. So Hex Turbo posted this image. 1 hour burn, 218 million PulseX, around 6K. 6 hour burn, over 1 billion PulseX. 24 hour burn, 1.48 billion PulseX. I was going to ask graphics, can you see, and I think you mentioned, you're talking about too, about being able to see burn stats and stuff. When you're looking, actually, I'm not even sure what site this is from. Is this from GoPulse? You guys know where this is from?
I don't know. I wish I knew, honestly, because it would be sweet to see the breakdowns.
Yeah, I was going to ask, any of these transactions, I wonder if when they're counting the burn, are they counting the entire, I guess all the transactions go. Well, I guess the difference is there a difference between what Unity, how Unity is burning PulseX versus just the way it gets burned normally in the protocol? Would it be counted in this?
It would be, I think it's counted in everything else, because I was noticing that when Whale Pulse, the Pulse Whale alert that shows the burns, it was calculating everything in to the mass that it was talking about on the daily basis when it was first popping off and going like crazy. So I think this is built into all this. Okay, cool. Yeah, and there's got to be a Zenith on the chart on GoPulse too. Was there a chart for the burn? Can we see the burn going up and down? Because that would be pretty cool to see if it's ticked up lately as well.
I don't think there's a chart specifically for the burn. Let me.
Where is it? Midgard. There are some PulseX stats. Let me try this. So the other day, was Zenith, we were on stream the other day when we were talking about where can I find burn stuff? And PulseX buy burn. Here we go. All right, one refresher on this. Look at this daily burn history. Got that chart for you. August 17th, 405 burns. Over, is it a billion? Yeah, 1 billion, 1.5 billion on August 17th. So got a little bit of a chart burn history as well.
Nice. That's actually good to know on Midgard.
Yeah.
Cool.
I dropped this in the chat. I don't think a lot of people know about it because I couldn't find it. I was looking everywhere. I'm looking at every stat site. I looked up, even on Midgard, I looked up PulseX. I'm like, well, why can I see a buy and burn thing? And then somebody said Midgard tools, buy and burn. I'm like, oh, there it is.
Okay, nice.
Secret knowledge. And I'll pop over here. One other thing I want to bring up, thought was pretty interesting. This one from Storyteller 17. Someone capitulated lows, now bridging back money in PulseChain, currently sitting on 700K USDC. It hasn't been deployed yet. That was on August 20th. And then I think today, was it today? Yeah, earlier today, just started buying PulseX. So We got some PulseX buys coming through. I don't know if we got any green candles from them, but got some buys at least.
Sick. That's awesome.
I mean,
PulseX
the top line information for PulseX is that as it stands right now, we've burned about 7.6% of the supply, which is a notable bit. So the buy and burn function is working, and it continues to work just fine. And that largely happens when people use the PulseX application, which is the largest DEX on PulseChain, which means that odds are, if I'm pulling out the crystal ball here, it means it's only going to keep burning into the future at very similar rates.
I think that's why, too, I did some research on this the other day, that that's why I think Richard doesn't mention Piteous as much, because on Piteous, everyone's favorite router to get the best deal on PulseChain, it doesn't have to always go through PulseX to get the best deal. So if you just type in like this and we'll just go with like PulseX or something, it'll fetch a price. And a lot of people are like, oh, use PulseX directly to get the maximum buy and burn. And I don't know, it's kind of like, I guess, but at the same time, it's like, do you want the better? I don't know, like it's like what's better for the group versus the individual type of thing. Like it's probably going to use it for part of it at least, but I don't know. I don't know how seriously people take this. Of like, are there chat? Let me know. Are there people? Are you in here not using Piteous and getting like the best deal on stuff because you're just hardcore want to support the buy and burn, which I respect, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I feel like, anyways, that's my explanation of like why I think Richard doesn't tweet about them more when they're like one of the most go-to products on PulseChain.
Well, we've talked about this in the past, which is that Richard Hart is a big fan of the risk diode, which is that if you are in competition with something, or you don't want to talk about something, or you think that something is negative, the answer is don't talk about it. So Richard obviously created PulseChain and PulseX. Piteous is something that does something slightly different and doesn't directly benefit PulseX, so it doesn't make sense for him to tweet about it a bunch. But from the user standpoint, Piteous is great because it does exactly what you're showing there, which is it's going to find you the most optimal route for all of your different swaps that go on under the hood of the main swap that you're trying to do. So just for example, what we're looking at here is we're trying to swap Pulse into EHEX. Can you back to the route real quick? There you go. So what it's going to do is it's finding the most optimal route through different liquidity pools. So you see there, we're going from wrap Pulse to DAI to Hex, Hex to EHEX. And then at the bottom, we have 10% of your trade that's going to go Pulse to DAI to PulseX, and then PulseX to EHEX. So this is going to help you find the most efficient route wherever it exactly. That's one of the reasons it's good, is it updates live with the aggregate of all the different pools that are across the ecosystem. Like if you look at it right now down at the bottom for 10 or 25% there, it's going to go through the 9mm DEX. The reason that it does that is because the liquidity pools are moving moment to moment based on its own balancing factors that go on. So is this going to get you, the user, the best price? Odds are yes. Is this going to burn the most PulseX? No. Can it burn some PulseX? Yes, if it uses PulseX itself. So again, it goes back to your question is, what are you trying to do out of this? I think that in the world we operate, it's best to try to plan around people being the most optimal, rational actors that they can and get the best bang for their buck. For the average person, that's probably just going to be going through Piteous, finding the most optimal route. If you are a larger whale in the ecosystem, or you particularly care about PulseX and the buy and burn in particular, then it's going to incentivize you to go through PulseX or try to incentivize other people to go through PulseX. But as it stands right now, use what's best for you.
And some pairs too, they're going to go through PulseX for 100% of like this one. Like if you want to buy PulseX with Pulse, and it just updated. For that particular example, it was 100% through PulseX. Now it's 84%, but yeah, it could be 100% at certain times too. Graphics, what do you think? Do you go straight? Do you use aggregators? Do you go straight to the DEX? What is your preferred method of swaps?
I go like, it depends on what the liquidity is. I typically just go to Piteous unless I know it's like going to be like a Pulse to PulseX swap. Then I'll go to, if I know there's just the main liquidity going to be in PulseX, I'll go there. Or especially if I'm helping with onboards. If I know it's just one thing, they want to go to the official links. It's like, this is the thing. It's like you can go to pulsechain.com, then you can go to PulseX. You don't have to have those like different links. Just send them to PulseX. So the more advanced the user, the more someone really does care about slippage or trying to really scrape every penny. Just Piteous. And the big reason for me is, PulseX's buy and burn is designed to really ramp up with volume and through arbitrage on different pools, moving pricing up and down, you're going to get lots of burn. And really, this is one of those buy and burns where it's going to be creating more of a floor than literally just pushing the price up. And so cumulatively, just from volume, user base, volatility, where we are in the market, it's going to have more of an impact that way than, just trying to push the price up via the volume. Because on an individual transactional level, it's like 0.06 of a penny actually goes towards. So for each individual user to make an impact, it's more impactful for people to just, or for this DEX to just exist on a chain that's getting a lot of volume during the bull run, or the backside of the bull run into the bear. That's really helping this thing more so than just, trying to nickel and dime our way into, 10,000x via this buy and burn.
That's true. Graphics, you did hit something very important there, though, which is one of the intangibles, which is ease of access and user accessibility. I think PulseX probably is the best one out there. Everything else is designed to try to be as accessible as possible. But especially if you're going with new folks, if you can just point to the main ecosystem and the most credible applications for everything, which is going to be PulseChain if you're on PulseChain, or PulseX if you're on PulseChain, then yeah, it's super easy just to point people there. It's the most reliable, the safest, and the easiest and most intuitive to use in my mind. And it works well with a variety of, or with the most popular wallets anyways.
Exactly. I think it only gets a little bit different depending on if someone wants to come in, let's say they're buying you're saying token 69420 XYZ, and the liquidity could be bigger over here one day, bigger over here the next day, but they're full degen mode, just Pateas, Yeah. So it just depends on who's doing what really, but yeah, I would 100% agree. You nailed it.
And this is a thread I dropped in the chat. I talked about this the other day, and I think Piteous wrote a whole thread on it too, and I used a little AI to give us a little bit of information too. But it comes up sometimes, and everyone seems to be unclear on it's always just another one of those questions where it's just use PulseX directly for more. And I really wanted to go through and be like, okay, how does that actually work? Why does it work that way? What are people's options if you are thinking about using an aggregator versus going straight to the DEX? Here are the trade-offs. So to each their own on how they use it. I did say here, I guess there could be a box to call it maximize PulseX burn that only uses PulseX root for Piteous if they ever wanted to do a little box or feature like that. But again, individuals are going to pick the best deal most of the time, I would say.
And I wonder, even if they did that, for the amount of work, for the amount, how much would you actually generate additionally, for, I'm sure, the amount of extra work and time and everything to do that. I wonder if it's even, I don't know. You know what I mean? For the people that actually go and do it, maybe you could. It probably generate some extra over time, but I'm sure it's so minimal. Just from arbing alone, you're going to burn through every transaction, after, especially because the fees are so small, and the spread between the different pools can be so low that, when something pushes up 1%, you have 0.5% spread or 0.6 or 8% spread there all of a sudden now. And that arbitrage is going to just inherently burn. So I don't know. Those are my 2 cents.
Does it change when, I guess does the number change for example, in 17th here burning, over 1 billion PulseX, which is, I don't know, how much is that? 1 billion PulseX is
40,000 almost, or over 40,000.
I'll just change it real quick into dollars and see 1 billion, 30,000. That makes sense. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, I guess 30 right now. Cause right. Yep.
Sounds about right.
Don't look at the price chart, but 30,000. Yeah. If that turns into, a billion turns into, instead of $30,000, $3 million, is there going to be a new movement of everyone start using PulseX direct? We got to start. Look how much millions, billions we're burning now. I wonder if the price has any impact on how much it feels like you're contributing to the burn and stuff. I don't know. Something I thought of too.
Oh man, this is an interesting one because you're going to have a bit of an inverse relationship between what's actually happening and the effectiveness of the buy and burn versus the perceived effectiveness of the buy and burn. Because when you have the volatility going through the roof, the price of pulse chains going through the roof, the volume is crazy high. And let's say there's a ratio at this point in time where there is a ratio of volume to the price of PulseX, right? And right now we'll say it's probably at one of its lowest points in that ratio, right? The volume is relatively low on the chain, the price of PulseX, meaning that volume is generating the most amount of PulseX burned per dollar right now. But over time, let's say PulseX goes through the roof and the volume only goes up 1 or 2x and PulseX is 1,000x. Now you have this funny situation where people can be freaking out like, oh, look, we're burning like $100,000 a day. We need to like do everything we can to make PulseX burn, when really it's actually burning like 25 times less PulseX than it was at the bottom. But now people care because the numbers are bigger and it seems bigger, but really it's kind of, it's like it's an illusion, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. The price difference, that's something we talked about too, was one of the interesting things about the price. Was it the price going down, or the, what was it? What was the thing that made it burn more? I forget. It's like, oh yeah, the price is going down, but it's going to burn more PulseX, or the volume's going to be, it's going to burn more when the price. Yeah. What was that? I can't remember exactly.
I would say it's just as the price goes down at a point that you're starting to measure from, when the price is decreasing and volume is staying static, decreasing less than or going up, then you'll have an increase buy and burn ratio over time. And so if the
yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, something along those lines. It's like it's not like black and white. It's pretty. There's a lot of what's it called? It's a spectrum.
Yeah, I wanted to hit up the ratio real quick as well on the Pulse to PulseX, one that's been tracking up for quite a while. I don't know if it's taking a break here for a second. We're going to check, but on the weekly, it has stepped a little bit. Was it 0.07, around there, 0.071? It was, wow, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, we were at like 1.73, I think, earlier yesterday or the day before.
What is this? When you all see this, like, what is that? What story are we telling now? Like, is it? So we went up so high. What's going on now?
Well, it looks like you definitely broke a trend line that was happening there. So what that says to me is that people have been rotating out of PulseX back into Pulse after it moved far enough that they were satisfied with the gains that they had made in comparison when you have the ratios.
Yeah, was like 1-to-1. Was that just like this? Okay, that's a little high. Let's maybe start rotating, and Pulse is good now.
That was a little bit high, especially if you consider back in the early days. I think the ratio was 1-to-4.
The sacrifice does not exist. It does not exist.
Yeah, that's true.
To new people. Parentheses, to new people. Yeah,
that's true. But price memory is a thing. It happens in all markets, and crypto is no different. So it will affect it to a degree. The ongoing trends will probably have more of a pronounced effect than price memory. But at the same time, again, I mean, not trying to be Nostradamus here or anything, but like, yeah, people are rotating out. Either that, or you could say that maybe the tokens are moving differently based on their own independent variables. Like, because if we are dividing one asset by another, it also just crosses out the step where you go through the US dollar equivalent. So on just the US dollar equivalent, if one's pumping harder than the other, you will get the ratio change as well.
Yeah. And everyone out there who I know still down on your sack bags, I hear you. Not trying to act like it didn't exist or whatever, but at the same time, it is one of those, I talk about this like moving forward. Okay. All the new people are trying to onboard do not care about sack prices. I know everyone who sack did, but no new person trying to onboard. You can't be like, oh, look, it's below sack price. I mean, what's the sack price? Like, that's not like the first line of onboarding would be like, oh, this thing is cheap. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting to think about the future too, like how we're going to, one of the things you mentioned, Susie, is about the independent variables, and it's going to be, it makes me think like whether it is going to be tied to how much was sacrificed in the future, or will it just split off and be like, this is all about the buy and burn, baby, or this is all about, hey, PulseX has utility now. We had a single side staking, or hey, Pulse, it's the gas token. Everyone loves this thing more than ever. Like all the different pieces that can like paint a new valuation of these tokens. I don't know, just thinking long term here, I think it'll be different than it is today.
No, I think you hit an important point there as well, which is that did a lot of people get into the sacrifice? Yes. Is that going to kind of be the mental anchor point for them? Definitely yes. The new folks, though, they don't have that mental anchor point, so they're looking at now. So it's kind of, when you're looking at the charts in real time, it's what have you done for me lately? And is the price now relatively cheap or inexpensive based on where you think it's going to go, where it has been, and what the roadmap for it looks in the future when it comes to like support and resistance levels. So yeah, it's very easy to get hung up on the sacrifice stuff, But at the same time, though, the market constantly evolves. There's always new ways to look at it, and there's always new perspectives based on where you get in or out.
Just want to take a look at PulseX.com real quick. Websites have been updated for the community. If you have been sleeping under a rock or just not been on X for the last 10 days or so, 15 days, I don't know when it happened, somewhere through there. Number one DEX on PulseChain also has some links here. There's some pretty green links, like a little logo, disappearing logo, like that as well. And it's actually, this is a really good information for people starting just to figure out like how it works and the trading fees and we'll have the most liquidity in PulseChain and talks about that. Remember the AMM ratio fixer bot? That was all the rage back then. Speaking of like sacrifice times and the P copies, that was a P copy thing too. So pretty good website. Branding. It's got let's see. Yeah, go here. It's got the logos and stuff there. On more links, it's right now just has it just has this. I thought I had like some other pieces. Maybe that's just the I thought it had. I guess this is just the links to the list for now. So anyway, stats, PulseChain.com, beautiful stats website now. Pump.tires and Xerox Coast. So I love I feel like everything on the websites are very hex.com, PulseChain.com, PulseX, very concise, very much like call to action. Here's what you need to know. Literally it says, number one DEX on PulseChain, every trade on PulseX buys and burns PLSX, driving scarcity, demand, and potential price upside. We've ran the numbers before. All-time low from PulseX is around 9 cents. Can we get a konnichiwa for 9 cent PulseX? We can as soon as I find it. Fuck.
Konnichiwa!
Boom. Sorry, I'll do that faster next time.
No, I'm glad you weren't asking for one of us to do it. I wasn't sure if you had the meme or not. And I know
it seemed that way. I was like, oh crap. I'm not no. Yes, that was a very very like intuition. Oh, you almost so graphics. You almost did a konnichiwa. Okay, next time I'm going to be like, no, I'm going to play the clip. I want to hear.
No.
Konnichiwa. Yeah, I'll do it.
Oh, maybe we'll see. We'll see.
I'll
just leave that there.
I'll do it for 10,000x. I'll do it. Pretty good.
I will say, I think PulseChain.com definitely had the biggest glow up when it comes to the websites because, again, for the folks that might not remember, these websites were pretty much ghost sites for about a year and a half there. When starting,
it looked like it just launched for like a year and a half. It was like, come on, we just launched a year and a half ago. Come on, yeah, it's about time, right?
Yeah,
it was right on time. I think.
I like that. I literally think it's right on time. I think there was, of course, no expectations, and if you believe, the PulseChain devs and Richard and everyone actually know what they're doing and are interested in a successful product and stuff. They probably know how to time marketing. They know how to time upgrades, all that stuff appropriately as well. So if anything, when I saw the updates and stuff, it's go time. Sound like go time to me. Sound like pretty good. That doesn't mean immediately. That doesn't mean 10,000x tomorrow, but it certainly seems like things are moving in the right direction and in a pace that's like, all right, it's about to get exciting, everyone.
Well, that's one of the things I've learned about since building is understanding the importance of understanding what you have as a marketing asset, timing wise. What like every action you have, if there's something in the future that's coming up, that's a future potential that you can utilize, and you only get one shot at it, right? So releasing a website, releasing a new thing, coming back and streaming, a marketing campaign, devices, all these things, you only get one shot at using them at the right time, right? Like let's go as far as to say the streaming idea, right? Richard coming back and streaming. That is going to be such a monumental moment when he streams for the first time that you only get that one opportunity when you've been gone for so long to come back and have that level of like, holy shit, right? Like where everyone's telling their friends and it's mayhem, right? Gonna break the internet on that day. So yeah, for things like the website, it seems so small, but the amount of excitement it can create at the right time is you only get one shot with it and so useful. So to me, that was a big learning that, I don't know if that's a great way to say that, but anyways, you get what I'm saying.
Big takeaway.
Thank you. That was the big learning.
Big learning. I get it.
I learned big.
Learned
Bigly.
bigly.
I learned bigly.
Oh, all right. Before we move on to the Unity project, just want to talk about the farms. Everyone forgot about the farms, maybe because ink inflation so low, hard to get that ink token. But APR is still around. You guys got 12% for the stable coins, a couple of them at least. And wow, man, less than 1% for the ink. Man, that used to be way different, much more. However, things could change. Knobs can turn, prices can move, all that stuff as well.
The big knob to turn is the hard to see one there, and it's in the very top left, which says inflation 0.03 incentive per second. That used to be, say, 1. So we've had a 97% decrease in the incentive token emissions, which it's called incentive token for a reason. It is the incentive to stake here instead of anywhere else. And well, the APRs suggest that people follow the incentives.
Wow. I mean, it used to not even have that little ticker there, so you just kind of had to look it up or just know it said, it was the one ink or all those different things. And then they added that. Now, remember, I literally did a stream and that they added this ticker of like, hey, it says how much ink there is. And then I think the next 2 upgrades were literally turning it down again and again, like the happening again. And I was like, oh, no, I think I clipped it. I was like, hey, there's a reason they put this here. I think, it's probably going to change in some way. And then what do you know? It halved. The halvenings occurred around that time. So hard to get, more scarce, maybe with demand means price go largely up. Guess bullish on ink too?
The more, I think a better version of saying that is incentive token will show you how much liquidity is in the pools, and then price moves based on the proportion of liquidity in the pools and the amount that it changes. So I think this is something that we saw when we reduced the amount of incentive token being emitted there, is that we reduced the size of the pools. The idea there was that it should be easier to pump, but understand it's also a double-edged sword, meaning it's also easier to drop price as well.
Yep. Increased volatility is the easy way to capture both of those. Yep.
Bingo.
But yeah, that was, it was very interesting because I think there was a time when we were there, I was seeing those conversations pop up. I actually made a video on this idea where he could come out and do something with the farms to lower liquidity. And like 2 weeks later, he did this. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I didn't think that was actually going to happen, but okay, here we are. Wow. So, but the point is, it's like, so he really is setting this whole ecosystem up for maximum potency with every move that's made. Every dollar can pump the ecosystem the most. Every move can market the most, get most people excited. You can see that there's like this level of refinement that's happening right now. And it's a big setup on a foundational level. So it's also crazy to see how many people are still in the pools, even though there's 4% APR or 1.3% APR, and people just leaving millions of dollars liquidity there. I mean, that's cool, man, but also surprising.
Yeah, it's great. It's got to be so many times. It's got to be season of price go up. Like if you're not earning ink that's worth a lot of money, why would you be in the pools? If you're not earning hex worth a lot of money and you're not getting a large, percentage yield, why are you going to stake hex? Got to be another reason to help you make that decision. And I certainly hope its price go up very, very much to make it to make all the make lack of inflation great again. There you go. We're gonna keep doing we're gonna keep going through the greatest hits here. Apparently, you started off with Bigly, so we're gonna.
That's a t-shirt right there.
Yeah, that's a new t-shirt. I don't know. I like this t-shirt though. HODL PulseX. Check that out. Boom.
Nice.
That's a good one.
It's a good one. Classic. All right. Cryptographics. It is Unity time. Take it away.
Well, I mean, how do I? You know what I want to do if we can? Can I bring up the DApp just because man, there's so much to this damn thing. First of all, that I want to just have something for people to just reference so they can look at and understand that what I'm saying is way more complex. And I'm not going to go the complexity side, but if we ever get confused, you're like, wow, that sounds like a lot. It's as simple as the DApp shows. So give me 1 second here.
Picture is good. Let's go.
Picture is worth 1,000 words, as they say. So hopefully
10,000 words.
10,000. I like that. It's this one right here. Can you see this?
Yes.
Beautiful. Okay, we're not gonna go to the numbers yet. I don't even want to go there. But Unity, because I mean they're a little absurd, and I need to explain our way into them so that people don't instantly think, oh my God, here we go. Right? There's not this level of assumption. So in a nutshell, what Unity is designed to do is it's designed to leverage PulseX, create demand into PulseX, burn PulseX, which increases the value of PulseX and obviously the scarcity, which because Unity is directly built on top of it, it will increase the value of Unity and create a very sustainable ecosystem or system that people can use to leverage their PulseX to get more value or more PulseX, whichever way you want to measure that, right? So it's a real simple system. And all you're doing is you are leveraging both sides of the market. This is what makes Unity so unique. Typically in a protocol, you have either staking or like a mining or a minting, or if you have both, they have two different time horizons. They're earning two different tokens. They're disconnected. And Unity is the unification of all these mechanics we know to allow people to use high prices to get shares advantageously using a mint style function we call creation. And on the other side of it, when prices go low, you can get a deal on getting shares by buying and staking Unity. And both of these actions get you shares, which then earn a BTC-like supply where every day there's a fixed amount, but it's declining for a fixed deflationary amount of 125 million cap supply, deflation because of a massive buy and burn. And effectively, it's like being in the early days of Bitcoin, but instead of using electricity, you're using PulseX, but you're also burning PulseX, which creates the value of everything else going on. It's got feedback loop after feedback loop after feedback loop. And to date, it has burned, I believe, 1.41 billion PulseX in 9 days. Wow. And we're just getting started. And no one really knows about this damn thing yet. You know, that's the thing that I've been trying to change. And the more people that come in, the more people that want to participate, just naturally, like you can't stake or create in this. You can't take any action in the system without burning PulseX.
Well, how does it work technically too? I'm curious. Like, what is going on when you create and you stake? Like, what action is making it burn the PulseX?
So you deposit PulseX. The create side is like it's like a mint and auto stake kind of thing. You could think it's like very similar, but instead of buying on the market at whatever the price is, you're buying at a fixed rate in the Dapp. And this is getting a little bit more expensive. So basically every day you're being able to buy or mint a little bit less Unity for the same amount of PulseX or Pulse if you want, right? And so any of these tokens that are coming in, so of the PulseX coming in or Pulse, 4.31% of every transaction, every deposit amount in Pulse or PulseX, if it's in Pulse, it automatically takes some of that when you create the transaction and it buys and burns PulseX. And if it comes in PulseX, it automatically just burns it. And this is every single transaction, no matter what. You cannot do anything in this system without buying and burning or burning PulseX.
And does it, when you say it burns PulseX, like is it sending it to like the zero address? Like is it running it through like another router? How does it work on that side?
Yeah, so it's sending it directly to the burn address, essentially. So it's calculating in where all the other PulseX is being sent to be burned. So it's calculating in the burn numbers that we see daily, like on Pulse Whale Bot and all that stuff. It's taking into consideration all this that's being burnt through the Dapp as well. So, I mean, and on the 18th when it launched, the big spike that we saw on that day was largely because of Unity, because in that one single day, there was, where is it here? I think there was 725 million PulseX burned on day one. Pretty significant for one day. So that was why that day was huge. If you saw I think it was like 1.45 billion was burned. And yeah, Unity burned half of that. And the reason for this, so just for some numbers here, we know that 21% of the 0.29% fee for using PulseX, so basically 0.06% of every fee or of the entire volume is taken and used to buy and burn PulseX. Unity is 71.8 times higher in its PulseX that it burns per dollar that runs through the PulseX exchange. 71.8 times more on every single dollar. So for $1 billion, you get $600,000 burned in PulseX V2. For $1 billion running through Unity, you get $43,100,000 burned.
Burn, baby, burn.
Dude, it's insane. It's actually crazy. So, and it gets even crazier when you understand this, which is this goes perpetually. It never stops. And so if people, now the thing is here, you can only operate in this system for up to 88 days at a time. This is really, 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 really important to understand in terms of the PulseX burning that we're talking about here. This means that these crazy ROIs that you're seeing, right? Let's say it was a lot lower. What's going to happen is the way this ROI is calculated in the DApp is that as we get to a point where people's shares are coming out, like the day where they're going to claim is coming closer and closer, the DApp is calculating off into the future how many shares are in the system. And what happens is as we get closer and closer to a day that people are going to claim and there's less and less people in the future, this ROI is going to, his estimated ROI is going to creep up, making it so that way people that are looking at this have a high incentive to want to get in. One of the things I've learned from being in like the Titan X ecosystem, or even watching PulseChain here, is that whenever there's an ROI, whether it's a percent, even if we go 4% in the PulseX farms, right? There's 4%. People are, I think there's even less than that. People are still in the farms. So where there's a little bit to earn, someone's going to go to. And because of that, in order to participate in the system, people have to burn PulseX. And because it works perpetually, every 88 days at a maximum, more PulseX has to be submitted and more PulseX has to be burned. And the way this also works is over time, every single token that can be staked is worth more PulseX in the system in order to be staked. Meaning, as the supply is growing, every token is also being able to burn more PulseX. So the more supply, the more that can be staked. The more that can be staked, the more can be burned. It's like a perpetual crazy feedback loop for burning PulseX and causing demand and pushing demand into it as well.
So when you create, you're essentially trading your PulseX or Pulse looks like Pulse or PulseX for, you get a Unity token.
So yeah, you get shares and you're going to earn. So I'll explain it. So when you come here, you have, let's say the prices are high like they are now. We're like way above the floor price, which we may get to at some point here. But essentially what that means is you're going to put in $3,000 and the value of what you're creating is currently $13,600. And that's because the price is so high, right? When the prices are high like this, they're likely to correct back down to the floor at some point, right? So just keep that in mind here, which is why you're seeing these crazy ROIs, because it's looking at the tokens you're going to get based on your shares, but the value of those tokens are absurdly high because the price is so high. And this is just important to understand here. So you are trading you're depositing your PLSX. You are guaranteed when you create specifically. So this is like the mint and auto stake style function. You're guaranteed to get this 993 at the end of the 88 days. When you are also in here, you get shares based on how much you're creating. And that amount of shares allows you to earn every day, just like a hex stake. You know how you get a little bit every single day from a hex stake? It's the same thing. You're going to earn over the 88 days, and that can go up or down depending on, you know, if people are more or less, there's more or less shares in the system on any given day. And so you're guaranteed to get this created amount here, but you can, if no one else comes into the system or the system doesn't change in its operations for the next 88 days, this is what you or I or whoever would go in here would actually earn. So this only changes if people come in or out of the pool, you know, after you've created this. Now, the same can be done for staking, where you are staking a certain amount. It gives you shares based on how much you're staking, and you're going to earn based on those shares. So it's kind of like taking a mining style protocol and Hex and kind of combining them together. But both actions are are fighting for block rewards that allow you to take advantage of different market opportunities. And it's, yeah, I'll pause there for a moment, because yeah, it's essentially what it is. You're trying to get shares essentially in the system and earn a very scarce, disinflationary and hyper deflationary token in the meantime.
I got one more question for Zenith get in here. Where does the value, so like where does the value come from for Unity? Like what makes the price go up and down? Is it should it always be worth more than a PulseX, like, or whatever you burn for it? Like, where does that come from?
So let's go to the Dapp here. So a few things. The value comes from what people give it and what value comes into the system. Because in order to participate, right, people need to submit PulseX or Pulse. Now, this PulseX and Pulse goes into two contracts, mainly the buy and burn, which is obviously a buy and burn, and it buys and burns Unity. So right now there's about almost $400,000 in these contracts only in 9 days, just for buying and burning alone, which means all of this is going to end up, all the Pulse is going to be buying PulseX first. And all of this economic energy is going to end up in the liquidity pool, because in order to buy Unity, it has to place PulseX into the liquidity pool. So it's inserting value into the pool, which will then be something that if people want to realize any value in Unity, that's partially where it's going to come from. The other part of it is going to be from the buy and build, which has another $270,000. And this is a really unique contract that I've never seen done before in this way. There's been a couple contracts that I've seen, or it wasn't contracts. It was just like, there's a buy and grow wallet, but this is a contract that's similar to the buy and burn, but instead of buying and burning, it builds the liquidity pool perpetually. And this is something that's going to really change the game, because every time someone puts Pulse or PulseX into the system, they're contributing to building that liquidity pool. Every single action they take in this system. So if we go back to if I go to, where's the price chart here? Only because I want to show the stats here. And if we look at the liquidity, that's why liquidity is sitting currently at 279,000 and the market cap is 250, is because there's been so much, even these small little purchases here, they're adding up so quickly every 10 minutes in the way they operate, that this pool is growing substantially very fast and keeping up with any selling that's going on. Well, there's no real inflation happening right now, as well as because there's burning, it's reducing the potential sell pressure as well from, well, yeah, more or less. So I'll pause here because I want to hear from you guys, because I'm talking a lot.
I think a quick question for you is that for folks out there that are looking at this, we have liquidity that is higher than market cap. How is that physically calculated? Because it seems like that kind of difference shouldn't really ever like mathematically happen.
So yeah, it's a place in time for Unity that probably won't exist forever, but because it is so difficult to create or earn and mint Unity on a short-term basis using the system, there is not a lot of tokens. There are not a lot of tokens that are going to come out for probably 20, 30, 40 days. But initially, 2 billion PulseX came in, and the contract was programmed to take that 2 billion PulseX and pair it with a one-time minted 20,000 Unity. So this is where the majority of supply is coming from. There's nothing else coming out from people creating and doing all this in the system quite yet. And so the buy and burn is just deflating the supply, which means the only supply that's ever really been minted is reducing, but the liquidity is still getting larger and larger and larger because the buy and build is operating, and there was such a large initial LP that was created.
Okay, interesting. And then what does the max token supply look like based on how you guys have this set up? Is it going to continuously increase over time, or is there a cap? Is it supposed to decay? What do you project as the total supply to look like into the future?
Less than 125 million. It probably won't ever reach that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know how many we're at right now?
I can find, let me see. We are at, what day? We're at 9. So day 9, we're at, we're at 20,000 basically. We're less than 20,000. Actually, let me go to the Dapp because it's in the stats part here. The total supply is 18,000 currently.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. So this is like being early days in BTC on a supply level, right? Very different. But, there's going to be a lot of supply coming out. And this is obviously going to be the heaviest point where the system is going to have to be stress test. But what we're seeing already, looking at Torus over on Ethereum, there is such a demand, and there's already even a demand right now if you go look at the price chart, a lot of the major buys, which let me just show you something here. So if we go over to the create ROI, this is ridiculous. If there's ever a carrot, this is a pretty big one, right? Now, staking, that's no slouch. But I mean, when you look at these back to back, obviously it's like, okay, well, that's probably the way to go if you're looking at a numbers basis. However, people are still staking. And to be exact, there's been over 100,000, or now it's been 84, but $84,000 in buy pressure that has come in for people buying and staking, even when the prices are this high. So there's demand here when there shouldn't be for staking. Now, this points to what I'm seeing over on Torus on Ethereum, is that as the price went up, there was staking demand. And now as the ROI, or as the price has come down, the staking demand has stayed there, is still, and actually as we're going lower, it has increased over the last couple of days as we've gone closer and closer to this floor price that I've alluded to a few times here. So the biggest thing to understand is the incentive structure in the system, right? We have a floor price it's 100,000 to 1 PulseX. This is our floor. Now this increases in PulseX terms every single day. The difficulty in the system is 0.08% increase across the board in all these parameters that we've talked about. So what happens is, when we're above that ratio in PulseX terms, the incentive in the system is to create and sell and compound. That's the whole point of creation, is to compound and grow your bag as fast as possible. So the incentive structure when prices are high like this is to sell and bring it back down, right? Because selling means profitability. That's what that incentive structure is doing. It's trying to get people to sell, profit, compound, build their bag as fast as possible. But when we get to that floor price, now the incentive structure flips. And now the incentive structure is in favor of buying and staking in the system to get cheaper shares, right? And so when you get there, if we assume that that's going to happen to some degree, people are going to buy up the price if people are selling it down because they understand they can get a crazy good deal on shares. Simultaneously, when they're buying and staking, they're locking up for 88 days. This means the buy and burn and the buy and build can now come in and go to town without having any real sell pressure to deal with in comparison, after the market already helped it out by bringing the price back up. So it's kind of like it's an arbitrage system, but it allows you to arbitrage both sides on shares, and that's the big thing. And so if you understand this long term, where if you go in for one cycle, sure, you might think, okay, well, I might make a good ROI and then I'm leaving. But if you're staying for years and years and years, you're looking multi-cycle, 88 days cycle, why not bull cycle, bear cycle? You're going to realize that, let's say you get a 10x, right? Then you get a 50%, then you get a 25%, right? That 10x just turned into a 15x, which just turned into a 22.5x by those small jumps in ROI. And because your tokens literally represent shares in the system, the more tokens you get, the more shares you get. And so if you're early, you're earning more tokens, you're going to own more of the share pool over time, allow you to continue to grow your bag over and over and over. And it's extremely powerful. Like, this is when people get this, it's like you just see them light up like, whoa, okay. So again, I'm going off as I do because it's my baby, but there's a lot to it.
What would have been some of the, I guess, criticisms or things like, okay, what if this happens? Why? What about the cycles? Like, what happens over time? Is it sustainable? What have been the biggest things that you've had to talk about or explain to, and I guess your thoughts on that too for the project? Audits, blah blah, everything. Yeah,
audits are easy. We've had 4 audits. That's as bulletproof as it gets. The biggest things that I've heard people talk about are, I guess, to do with, why do we need something that's kind of like Hex? I don't want to deal with anything that's like Titan X. Why do we? But it's like, people assume that because there's some similarities to token A or B or C that it already exists. So why do we need it? And that's really easy because this protocol has 100% success rate of being able to factually prove everyone that has any assumptions about how it's similar to X, Y, or Z token, how it's completely wrong. So that's easy. Like, anyone that comes in the Telegram is like, oh, this is just like this token. It's like, okay, ask me a question, and then boom, we get into it and they realize, holy shit, okay, it's not like it at all. And so when it comes to the incentive structure and sustainability, though, it's quite sustainable. It's I would dare say it's the most sustainable tokenomic model that you can have, because it constantly increases its carrot, meaning there's always an ROI in the system. When people stop participating, the ROI just keeps climbing, right? Because if people stop participating for a while, this is an extreme edge case. Like, this is the most extreme possible thing you could say here, right? But let's say everyone just says, I'm done, right? And they walk away. Well, the ROI is going to keep climbing, because for days that there's no one in the pool earning, it just gets added to the next day, to the next day, to the next day. So at some point, there's going to be an ROI so big that someone's going to say, okay, fine, I'm going to go in. And as soon as they go in, they're going to put in some economic energy. That economic energy is going to go to the buy and burn. The buy and burn is going to start pushing the price up, even if it's a little bit. And that alone is going to kick this flywheel off. Because you can't take an action in the system, staking or creating, that does not bring in Pulse or PulseX for the system to use.
Gotcha.
Okay. So I guess if we're going with the thermodynamics example here, conservation of energy, it's doing math even though there's no actual Pulse or PulseChain that's put into the system, but it's adjusting the system to incentivize it so that when it does actually get some additional energy, it will then kind of get going again.
Exactly. It's a self-resetting system. Yeah.
That's what it is. Got it. Interesting.
No, and the big thing to understand here is there's a staking fee, right? That's what makes this thing so powerful. And when you make people have to bring in that Pulse or PulseX, even with something as simple as staking, this is how it's game over. This is how now the system will operate no matter what. It's immutable anyways, but now it's like it will always be pulling in something to support itself, no matter what, as long as there's one user in the system.
All right.
You say there's any stat sites or otherwise where you can see the burn metrics for yet?
Yeah. Go to, I put a link in the private, or do you want me to share it? I can do that too also.
Oh yeah, you can share it while you're up there.
So here's the dashboard built by Mike Dean, and he's the legend. That's why this thing looks so damn good. But so we're in contract day 9, 1.4 billion total deposits. Obviously we've tanked a little bit in the last day or so. So we're down a little bit here. This was actually about 1.2 million in 9 days, which is crazy. But this here is one of the most important things that I want to talk about, which is the future supply. I'm going to bring up a photo here. One sec. I'm going to just find this, because this is seriously like this is what makes this protocol one of the most unique possible protocols that you could ask for. Now, I'm going to show you something here. So this is day 2. Okay. So what this chart is showing is the daily amount of tokens that can be claimed or unstaked, or claimed from either stakes or creations. And on day 1, this amount here, this big day, was supposed to be 8.5 million. Okay. Or around 8.5 million. By day 2, this number, this unlock, had come down to 5.6 million. So this big day that everyone could potentially be worried about for the unlock on the, from day 1 has already reduced to 5.6. Now, if we come back to real time, we're on day 9, and this day is already reduced to 3.57 million. We're over 50% reduction 9 days in to the number of tokens that are going to come out on day 89. And this is one of the most unique things that people need to understand, is that the more people come in, the more people compete for this in future days, the more it's taking from everyone else's future potential and bringing that all the way into the future when they're going to come out. And so it's a game of competitive leapfrog in that sense. And so what we could see is if a lot of people come in, they start going for 88 days, or long, or whatever length, what they're going to see is that day, that big day that everyone could be concerned about, is going to come way down. In Torus, it's 1.7 million currently, down from 8.5 million on Ethereum.
I'm guessing by the length of stake, it adjusts the rate that you're eligible for. So there's probably some mechanism that limits the amount of like sniping that could go on. So like theoretically, like let's say like we're looking at this chart right here. On day, what is that, 88? it's obviously the biggest payout right there. So what's to stop someone from on like day 85 or 86 just doing like a 7-day stake or something?
Haha, thank you for asking this. This is where we get into what I've learned from Hex, Hedron, Icosa, everything, you know, and I put that into this. So I want you to watch something. Look at the shares here. Remember, your shares are your earning capacity, right? So this is for an 80, this is max length with 100 million PulseX depositing, creating 993 Unity, you're going to get 7.69 million shares. If I type in 7,
are you still on the Titan X Hub website?
Oh, I'm still on there. Okay, yeah,
you're
here's
good.
Dan.
You're good.
Okay.
Here we go. All right.
88. Okay. Sorry.
All good. All good.
So 88 days length. Look how many shares you're going to get. 7.69 million shares for 88 days. Right? Now, if I type in 7, you get 5,000, or I guess it would be 3,000x less. Which means, look at the ROI. 88 days can have this kind of ROI, and 7 days is negative 64%. So the question would be, okay, well, at what point does this ROI actually reduce to 50% of whatever you'd think it would be for 88 days? Well, the answer is it's right around 70, right around 74, I think it is actually. So at this point, 75 days roughly, this is when you get half of the shares, more or less, right? It's actually, yeah, it'll be a little bit less, probably 73 or so, something like this, somewhere in here. Yeah. So basically, you can stake maximum length for 88 days, but if you stake for 18 days less, you get 50% of the shares. And the reason for this is because I designed a system that's designed for exponential increase in shares for every day that you go further into the distance. So the way this is calculated for staking and for creating is exponentially. So let's say you stake 100 Unity or create 100 Unity. That number 100 is then multiplied by the square of the number of days that you chose to create or stake for, meaning it is an exponential curve in the amount of shares. So people that are trying to game the system and trying to go for like 7 days, they can't do anything. You have to go out long. You're forced to, and if you don't, you have a high risk. You're playing the higher risk game of you're going to get way less tokens, but you're now going for just dollar profitability.
I think we got time for I was looking at the chat for questions. Just got a couple minutes left here. I think the only one I saw, I haven't seen any on the protocol, but I did see one. If anyone wants to take a stab at it, Mo Mindset Crypto price prediction of PulseX in December.
Oh God, I don't like these. I hate price predictions.
You can pass.
I'm going to pass. I'm not going to do any price predictions. I appreciate that. It's fun, but I'm not going to go there. I think way higher than where we are now is what I think. But what way higher means, couldn't tell you.
Makes sense to me. December is a very particular date there. It seems an interesting one to choose. It all depends on what theory you're going with for how this cycle is going to play out. Because if we're going traditional 4-year cycle, then that would mean that this is past the top. If you're talking about the possibility of having an extended cycle that goes into like Q1 of 2026, then it would still technically be on the up and up. Because PulseX is kind of like an altcoin in an altcoin ecosystem, we're looking at probably very delayed pumps for that time. So again, it depends on which side of the peak you're on and how aggressive that peak is as well. But I agree with the sentiment that it's probably going to be a good bit higher than it is right now. I think that, oh gosh, maybe like a 5x minimum higher from here is reasonable if we're going for that real parabolic growth. But again, it's gonna rely on what we were talking about earlier, which is the marketing strategy and the timing of it all and where that fits into it.
Pump timbers, hopefully several coming up. Excited for it.
Pump timber.
Graphics, anything else on you want to cover? I feel like we have definitely some questions that hopefully give people an idea of how it works and different pieces of it. Anything else before we wrap up?
Yeah, well, I'm seeing a couple of comments here where it's like another project they gotta wait years for profit. Isn't that what Hex for? And where's the other one I saw here? Titanx did so well. Who wouldn't want in on this? And it's like, I'm cool with talking about it. It doesn't matter to me because I know what this thing is. And I know people are going to catch up to it. And I know people are going to finally be at one point, everyone's going to have that aha moment. Like, I know 100% for certain that's going to happen. I have not a bone in my body says anything differently. And so when people are saying things like the Titanx stuff or whatever, where is this other comment here? So another project they got to wait years for. No, it's only 88 days. You have to go 88 days at a time, see where you are. If you want to go back in, cool. If you don't want to go back in, take some profit, do something with your life. You don't do whatever. It's up to you. Or don't do 88 days, do 70 days. But once you're done that 88-day period, boom. And this is the beginning of Unity has the highest likelihood of profitability using the system alone of any other time in the system, just because there's the most tokens and there's the least amount of people, right? So you don't have to wait years. This is not a Hex competitor. This is something completely different. So on that front, yeah, I love these statements because it's just an opportunity to really showcase how different it is. And then the last one is Titanx did so well. Who would want in on this? First of all, I appreciate the comment actually, because again, this has nothing to do with Titanx. This is as similar to Titanx as it is to Hex. So if you want to say I don't like this because it's like Titanx, you better have the same answer about Hex as well, which I know you don't, because it's just as similar and actually takes more away from Hex than Titanx. The share system is from Hex. The staking idea is from Hex, right? I added my own salt and pepper and sugar and spice and all the nice things in there, but the core of this ecosystem came from my time studying, modeling, writing a freaking book, on Hex. So and please don't get this as frustration. It's more just like, I want you guys to get it before it's later than you wish you did, because every single person that I've finally gotten this thing through to has been like, whoa, wait a minute. Okay, hold on here. I need to focus on this thing. There's a lot happening here. This is important. And so my invitation to everyone watching, this is the last thing I'll say, is I invite you to recognize when you have an assumption, a preconceived bias about something that you already think it's like, put that to the side and just learn. Go copy the white paper, put it in an AI model and ask it some questions. I guarantee to you that it will be different than whatever you think it is.
Yeah, I think in general, the sentiment of just red candles and bear market and price hasn't went up for anything for a while either. It's just hard for any project to come out and not have this instant watch and there's with different projects there's criticisms here and there, and there's more constructive ones than others too. But yeah, man, it's hard for new projects these days when it is kind of like the short-termism and just like, hey, you see stuff get exploited and all that. So maybe one day it'll be like, like everyone put their money in new projects again without, not without asking questions, but without having a strong skepticism. I think that's just how it is in crypto right now. But yeah, appreciate you building something that burns PulseX.
Well, dude, honestly, I'm fine with it. It's definitely burning a lot of PulseX, and it will continue. And here's the thing is that I ultimately don't care if people get in now. If they want to ignore it, if they want to talk shit on it, if they want to, and not in an unhealthy way too. If let's say they're just skeptical, if they're healthily skeptical too, that's fine. The people that do believe are going to be the ones that benefit the most from the way the system operates. And if there's ever a tokenomic model that's going to overperform, which is already doing versus what I anticipated it doing, it's going to be something like this or this. So for the people that are in it right now, I'm very happy for. I'm trying to educate everyone else so that they don't look back and be like, I literally saw this thing on day 9 and I thought it was a scam and I have so much regret. I don't want that. I know what I've built here. I just wish I could get people to see what's happening here without the preconceived notions of bias, what's happening in the market, the scams that are going on, and the exploits that are happening. And it is frustrating because there are so much exploits happening and shitty things, which is, of course, people are now going to think everything's going to be that next one that goes down. And it's unfortunate. But it's the way it is, So
well, I said too, market conditions when there's plenty of money floating around and everyone's like, no, that's my last dollar. I got to be very careful and all that. I think it'll be easier, but yeah, I think it's just part of being a founder, and I don't envy that at all with any of the builders who are building tokens and stuff out there, or any products like that, because it is it's competitive. It is, you're trying to convince a crowd who's been through the ringer, and yeah, like I said, it's a tough crowd right now, tough market. But yeah, hopefully you're successful, man. Again, I like the burn of PulseX. I like anything built. I like any of the features that help Hex, help PulseX, help Pulse. Somebody build something for Ink one day. I'm sure there are projects out there too. But that's what I want to highlight, because I think that's people are interested in that, at least the PulseX crowd.
Yeah. Well, can I just say one last thing here? Because UFO to go says something that's really important that I want to stress here. It says any project that has a face and a name pinned to it deserves serious attention. Whether the last part of it's you agree with or not is beside the point, but I wanted to point out that my full name is on a book on the PulseChain ecosystem. I have my full name out there. My face is out here. If I was going to put something out here that was going to be damaging to people, how quickly do you think that would come back on me? Because my full name is out. People can find me so quickly. This is a perpetual protocol. I'm not going anywhere. And so I just really want people, I want to try to cut through the biases, man. I just want people to give it a shot. That's all I'm trying to do with this. Don't listen to me. I'm the salesman. I'm the guy who founded it, right? I'm trying to convince you it's a good idea, but go look at the good idea itself and find out the fact that it is actually a good idea with what it has to offer, not with what I'm saying.
Crypto Investing Practical Handbook. I do remember the book, the Cryptographics wrote.
It's free on cryptographics.com as well.
Yes. All right, man. Awesome conversation here. Graphics, Zenith. What do you guys want to take us out on? What's positive? What's pumping? What's starting to get PulseXy about? PulseXy, ooh, I like that.
Well, I'm sick of hearing my own voice, so I want to hear Zenith's voice for a little while.
Oh gosh, this is the part of the show where I think I interject random stuff that I've been paying attention to. Yeah, Jackson Hole happened in the United States. For those who care about Federal Reserve interest rates, we might actually see a change there for once. Big news of the day was that Crypto.com just is working on a big deal, and they had a big day over there as well. But outside of that, gosh, if Ethereum making all-time highs, I think is very beneficial to the PulseChain ecosystem because we have a lot of Ethereum tied up in it. So when the price of Ethereum goes up, rising tide raises all ships. So that's definitely something to pay attention to as well. We are in the point in the cycle now where, again, I mentioned it earlier, whether you believe in 4-year cycle or the possibility of an extended cycle, either way, we're getting closer to the end. So crypto is going to get stupid hot here for a hot minute there. And if you remember the investor psychology chart, that is one of the most important charts out there, the euphoria phase is coming at some point soon. So whether it's 2 more weeks or a little bit longer than that, that's yet to be determined. So please, everybody out there, keep your head on a swivel. Don't let the emotions get the best of you. But outside of that, moves are happening. We had a pretty good move with PulseChain there. It looks like Hex did dip a little bit down to that like 0.75-ish cent area, but it's recovered up to about 0.9 cents. It's a critical area for it because if we can flip that 1 cent level from resistance into support, that'll be a great stepping stone to start getting towards higher levels there.
Dollar Hex. I want dollars. Dollars.
Oh, please.
Dollars.
Please.
That'd be sick.
Let's make it happen.
All right, everyone. That's all we got for you today. Cy Vibe and 5555. We are out.